Hi everyone. Hi everyone. My name is Satyajit Sinha. I'm a principal analyst at IoT Analytics. We are a market intelligence provider, and today we're going to discuss the LoRaWAN and water utility, but from the aspect of how to choose long-term partnership. I'm going to let the panelists introduce themselves one by one, and yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much for having us today. My name is Rashid Alahmedi. I'm Chief Operating Officer of a subsidiary owned by Dubai Electricity and Water Authority called InfraX. We are an IoT service provider licensed by the regulatory authority to provide IoT services. The main purpose of establishing the company is to serve the mothership company in the utility business for the smart metering and smart grid. But through the leverage of the infrastructure that we have, we are also enabling it as a side business and commercialize some use cases for other industrial use and for other utility applications.
Great. Thanks, Rashid. Ralph?
Hi, my name's Ralph Varcoe, and I'm the Chief Growth Officer at Connexin. Connexin's a UK-based organisation that is both an ISP, consumers and businesses across the whole of the UK. But the reason why we're here today is because we are an IoT network operator and solution provider.
Great. Christoph?
Hello, everyone. My name is Christoph Wergen, and I'm from Wien Energie in Austria, Vienna. And we are a utility company, but also a LoRaWAN network operator. And since we are owned by the city of Vienna, we work very closely with the city departments and are using our LoRaWAN network together with the city of Vienna to read out water meters in such a way.
Great. Thanks. Hi.
Last one, I'm Carlo Tinella, and I'm part of the product marketing and product management team of Semtech for LoRa products. Basically, we manufacture and sell the chips that are powering end nodes and gateways.
Great. So keep the mic. I'm going to ask this question to all of you, but to understand what do we mean by long-term partnership, specifically in the water metering industry, which has itself a life cycle of 10 years. And we have a discussion to customers, you have to give a warranty of 10, 15 years. So you need to have that partnership long-term, 10, 15 years. So what it mean for you guys to have that long-term partnership means?
Definitely what we are seeing is that, so I'm starting.
Yeah, go ahead.
We are seeing that even these 10 years is something that should be, let's say, reviewed on an increased scale. Okay, we are seeing the timeline becoming more in the range of 13, 15 years.
Okay.
That's a clear trend.
Yeah.
Because most of the time those, say, utilities, but everybody basically has to make investments, even sometimes capital intensive investment on setting up the network and operating it. So on our side, as a chip provider, what I can say is that the first thing is that we have to ensure that our chips are going to be available in the market for more than 10 years. As an example, real example, we introduced LoRa, the first generation of LoRa in 2013. And we are still selling in this first generation on several millions per year. Okay. And we are far from, let's say, think about putting it on end of life. So really, this is the first thing. And then the other, let's say, two major topics that, in my opinion, should be addressed since the beginning are the financial strength of your, let's say, of the ecosystem that you want to build around your solution. And also I would say the strategic commitment of your partners to invest into the technology. Okay, those are really two important things that should be checked when you are projecting yourself on those kind of timelines.
Yeah, makes sense. Christoph, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So as a utility company, we are used to very long cycles. If we are building a windmill or a solar park, they do need to stay there for way more than 10 years to actually recuperate their investment. We're talking about 25 years plus. Okay. And so these timelines are nothing new to us, neither to the parts of the city government that we are working with, because we all hope that the city government still exists in 10 years.
Yeah.
The only part for on our collaboration model that we do need to ask that question for is suppliers of the hardware, of the water meters, and the whole ecosystem of LoRaWAN itself that we're using, which we of course take the measures to make sure that we are building strong partnerships that do stand the test of time.
Ralph?
So long term is good. I mean, not only does the water company want to sweat their asset,
Yep.
so why would you want to replace it, more often than 15 years has elapsed? So that's good for us. But as an infrastructure provider, in other countries, water meters can be above ground. In the UK, the water meters are underground. So they're in chambers. They have metal lids on top. They sometimes fill up with water. They are difficult to get to. So we provide infrastructure that is 8 to 10 times the number of gateways as you would have if you had devices that are at ground level. That's CapEx intensive. Therefore, we need to make sure that we are there for the long term to make sure that our asset gets, we sweat that as well as the water company sweating theirs.
Rashid?
I would echo what my colleague said, but from the perspective as a service provider, the long-term partnership, it's a journey.
Yep.
So therefore, selecting the right partner and ensuring that you are building this journey from roadmap point of view.
Yep.
Ensuring that whomever you are selecting have a skin in the game,
Yep.
knowing about the business, and ensuring that whatever you are trying to develop with them, it's something sustainable. Not only from the supply chain, but from the roadmap of the product, what we can develop more on top of the basic services. What are the things that, as a service provider today, we can spin off and provide as a value-added services on top of the core applications or the core use cases that we are developing.
Right.
So from that perspective, the long-term partnership from our side is something that is here to work with you and not to work as a transactional based, but to work in a journey and build a clear roadmap on how we can take this journey to the next level.
Makes sense. So we have established that long-term partnership is an important aspect, but the next question to all you again is that what are the key metrics that decides the vendor selection for partnership? Is it, first-time connection rates? Is it the leak alert accuracy? For everyone will have a different aspect of that criteria. We can start with you.
So I would summarize it in 3 main pillars for selecting the right partnership. First thing will be how intense from ecosystem point of view that partner is in terms of supporting you with the supply chain, the availability of the services that you are taking it from him. Ensure that you are part of his priority as well.
Yeah.
It's not like that today you may have the lead time of 2 months, next time you have a lead time of 5 months, that kind of sustainability in terms of priority as a partner.
Yeah.
Second will be in terms, is he only seller or he's a partner?
Yeah.
So how he's really taking the partnership to the next level in terms of coming, suggesting, promoting services together.
Yep.
Third thing will be, is he part of your success?
Yeah.
So for example, in InfraX, we are partnering with people who are developing products and services with us, and not only focusing on the water applications, for example. So we are trying to really leverage the whole ecosystem instead of only being a supplier for gateway or sensor. But no, we really see how we can productize the services, how we can offer it in a different business model. For example, billing as a service is something that we are looking at to really try to elevate the offering to our partners and our clients.
Okay, makes sense.
I think the water companies want to have the data because that's ultimately what they need to be able to bill more accurately, more frequently, spot the trends in terms of where leaks may be happening. So they want to get that on an assured basis at the right price point with the least amount of problems imaginable. Therefore, they need a partner who is going to take the pain away from them, who's going to manage the entire supply chain, everything from the water meter manufacturers themselves and the pass-through of all the warranties on that, all the way through to the head-end system for decoding, pumping that through then into the meter data management system. So one organization who's going to take all of that on board, make sure they deliver, but ultimately it's about the data and ensuring that that data can then be analyzed.
Makes sense.
Yeah, those are some great points. I do agree a lot with having a skin in the game. Everyone needs to, but not only have something to lose, but also something to win. Obviously, everyone has to. I think every partner in this kind of alliance that you're forming to realize the project, they all need to also share kind of the same vision and the same understanding of how you want to get there. So there's very different ways to orchestrate these collaborations, but also, for example, on how flexible the systems are, how open the systems are, and if one partner, for example, is thinking in a very closed system and someone else wants a very open system, well, these things don't really work well together. And I think that's what's really important, that you have the same concept of how you want to get there.
From a chip manufacturer, I would say the first answer that I can say is focusing on delivering the best RF performances, which means turns very quickly in the ability to, let's say, sustain long range with very low power consumption. Okay, now, and we are, let's say, we continue to strive in that direction with our technology. Now, I will also give you another answer on say, from the perspective of LoRaWAN, because at some point, if a customer or a utility chooses to use LoRaWAN, okay, it's more the brick of the solution. In this case, is the, let's say, connectivity brick. Okay, here for me, an important parameter to consider is how good and how focused, let's say, the attention of the LoRa Alliance. Okay, so the body that foster the technology and is, let's say, there to make sure the technology fits the market needs. So how good is focusing to your use case? Okay, and I can say that today, okay, Semtech with our ecosystem are definitely paying a lot of attention to the water utility market, with making sure that the innovation is there at the right time, and then also I would say the innovation that touches TCO, so total cost of ownership, but also the rising the level of the standardization through the data journey. Okay, from not only the connectivity, but really going even at upper level. That's very important.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I'll come to you, Rashid. So InfraX is supporting Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, right? And other utilities, UAE, for water metering and AMI project. Can you share some of the key insights regarding these deployments, such as network deployment or meter reading or take-up rates, anything that you can highlight?
Yeah. Sure. So as I said, like selecting the right partner is really crucial to make those projects successful. So, for example, today when somebody coming to study the network coverage, if you want to scale this from electricity and water utility point of view, there are some aspects that you need to ensure that building the right infrastructure sizing that will be sustainable for the future. For example, when you doing any AMI projects, you need to ensure that you are calculating the issue of scheduling. Because at the end of the day, we have limited resources when it comes to spectrum availability. Most of it is unlicensed. So the partner and the right people who are really on the field, they will be able to address these kind of pain points during the implementation of such projects. So that's why in our strategy, when selecting the right partner, we ensure that they did some projects in implementation of AMI. And we are always benchmarking from DEWA implementation, because DEWA is one of the highly penetrated utilities in the UAE when it comes to the smart metering, the distribution automation. So we have a lot of lesson learned that we are using from know-how point of view. And also we have a lot of know-how that we are getting from our partner to ensure that we have the right recipe. And accordingly, this is the right strategy when we want to deploy or to try to bid for a new development and new projects, and ensure that at the end of the day, a success story that can develop on the basis of the history. Ensure that also we have ability that we can expand beyond the core projects that we implement in terms of adding additional use cases, introducing value-added services on top. So this is the model that we are trying to adapt, and we see some of the partners that they are also coming with the kind of revenue share models. Sometimes they are coming to capitalize the infrastructure from their side, and then we amortize the cost over certain period of time to our clients.
Okay.
So from that perspective, I see there is a lot of new business model that could be implemented that could help really the adaptation and digital transformation projects.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Ralph, you guys run LoRaWAN network for UK water meter company that's at scale. So, what contract model best align, incentives for long-term outcomes? If you can share anything on that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, water meters in the UK being underground, you've got to have real density of network coverage. And so it's not really feasible for a water company to put their own network in place. It would just be too costly. It's not their business either. So they will work with an organization like us whose job it is and whose business is to build enterprise-grade LoRaWAN networks, as well as fiber networks and other things that we do, but in this context, the LoRaWAN networks, to ensure that we can provide them with the service. So it is an end-to-end service, including everything from the supply of the water meters all the way through to the head-end systems, etc. But from a network perspective, it's all done on the basis of it being data as a service, and there is a cost for that on a per year, per meter basis, to ensure that the right number of packets are delivered and therefore the right number of data points get delivered for them on the prescribed SLAs that we have within each contract.
Interesting. Makes sense. Christoph, for you, how do you guys operate in Vienna in a city-scale LoRaWAN network for multiple deployments, multi-departments as well? And how do you build partnerships with several city units with different requirements and share the same network?
Yeah, that's absolutely not always easy, but I think it's very important to collaborate very closely within the different organizations. We work very closely with the IT department of the city of Vienna, and we have defined some criteria that are very important to have these kind of Lego bricks that we've already heard in one or the other talk today, and in this way, when everyone does their brick to an extent where it's open and easy to modify for different applications, then it's much easier to use it for different applications. And so that's the way that we chose. So it's a lot of individual building blocks that need to stay flexible enough to then be attached to different ones.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Carlo, in your last talk, you just quickly talked about something support, and it quickly clicked to me because in consumer it is supports keep dropping, but in IoT we need to have a long-term support. So my question from a device and chipset perspective, how should utilities evaluate the vendor's roadmap and lifetime support, and what is the realistic support horizon for water meters?
Yeah, I already mentioned the fact that so our chips are there for, let's say, more than 1 decade.
Yeah.
They must stay there for over 1 decade.
Yeah.
So the customer reassured that technology is going to be available, okay, for them. They don't need to catch up with all the innovations that we are bringing in our roadmap. They can rely on a very solid base of what has been introduced in the past.
Yeah.
But then, again, we are continuously benchmarked in terms of technology for the power consumption. Because this, at the end, ties to the battery lifetime of the meter. So, of course, everyone would like to extend as much as possible that so pushing away the need to invest into the replacing the meter. Okay, that's one side, one thing. The other thing is what you were saying. So the cost of deploying a network, densifying the network. So our roadmap is also committed into improving the other side of the, let's say, RF performances, which means the ability to demodulate weaker and weaker signals. Okay, so in order to extend the range of each gateway and reducing the need of densification.
Makes sense. So this question again to all of you, and this is kind of a controversial, but for different stack, you can have a different partner, but for a single stack or specific water utilities companies, how it makes sense for single partners versus ecosystem or multiple partner for the same stack we are talking about, and what is the break point in the complexity and the risk, and what is the experience with all you that you share, if you great you can share something.
I'll say the breaking point depends on the requirements associated to the level of interoperability, I would say. And the, let's say, the desire will be to not have any breaking point, not being locked to anybody, basically, and being able to replace one partner very easily. So I will say it's difficult to set a breaking point. What I can say is that with the rest of the LoRaWAN ecosystem, we are working hardly in order to really increase, I mentioned this at the beginning, the level of standardization in the journey of the data, okay? And focusing on the water meter, I can mention the fact that the Alliance has joined with the OMS organization in order to standardize this OMS over LoRaWAN for the sake of, let's say, closing the gap of standard, let's say, data, okay, exchanged for the application. That's one thing. The other thing, more related to our standpoint, is we try to make sure, so there is a clear trend in Europe at least to have a sort of fallback option for the connectivity. LoRaWAN is good, okay? But now the requirement is, so I have a very good wireless connectivity, how I can make sure that I mitigate the risk now. This is kind of ramping up. And as a Semtech, we are going after, let's say, this requirement, adding the ability to support, in this case, wireless and bus, and keep this supporting in our roadmap. Yeah.
Makes sense. Christoph, yeah.
Just to expand on that, I think what makes IoT so hard is that you need a lot of know-how from very different areas, right? So you need the know-how from the water utility. You need to know how to run a water, all the water utility itself. You do need some knowledge of radio transmission. You do need some knowledge about then the IT side of it, using the data, transcribing it, etc. And very rarely you have all of this know-how in one organization, and so you need to see which know-how you have, and then find the right partners to fill in the slots of what you're missing, basically.
It's an age-old question, ecosystem or single supplier, and I would say the benefit of having a chipset and an alliance where you have so many different people as part of it is that the rate of innovation is phenomenal. Everybody's working together. I could use any one of 6 different gateway providers, 20 different sensor manufacturers that do pretty much the same thing, 15 different platform providers. I mean, there are, at the last count, there are hundreds of IoT platforms just in the UK alone. So there are so many options to choose from. Now, if I'm a city council or a water company or a commercial landlord, why would I want to work with 15 different ecosystem partners to have one solution? I just wouldn't. That's 15 relationships I need to manage, 15 different billing relationships, 15 different SLAs, 15 different, I mean, it would just be a nightmare. So what I would want is a single organization who is providing the end-to-end solution, who's professional and who brings in all the right ecosystem partners to be part of the right solution for my business.
Okay. Rashid, for us.
Just to complement what the gentleman mentions here, the beauty of having IoT service provider who's connectivity neutral is really to go beyond that controversial and locking mechanism. The beauty of the LoRa ecosystem that have many partners that you can really collaborate with and build the whole ecosystem. Now the question will be as the different layers that we have in providing the IoT services, the application layer, the connectivity layer, the sensor manufacturer layers.
We have just wrap it up.
So from that perspective, I would say that yes, we need to be open, but not to the extent that you have that kind of bigger relationship.
Correct.
And also, you cannot be locked because at the end of the day, you will have the opportunity for monopoly.
Yeah.
So therefore, if you have a trusted partner or a service provider who can take care of all of that for you and give you the best of the best and
Correct.
provide it to you as a service.
Great. Thank you so much for all the answers and all the insights. It completely makes sense. And thank you everyone for joining today.